Hi, and welcome to 3 Things in 3 Minutes. I'm Nersi. Today, we are looking at The Hunger from Renegade Game Studios. It plays 2 to 6 players and plays in about an hour. What it's about: The Hunger is a deck building and racing game in which players are vampires emerging from their castle at night to go feed on humans in the village below, and then rushing back before dawn breaks. So each round, players will play their hand of 3 cards and gain special abilities and speed for the round. They then divide the speed to move along the board and or to spend it to add new cards to their deck. Now, they may acquire abilities that help them move, familiars that provide permanent effects, or most importantly, humans, which generally don't provide much speed, but provide endgame points. Along the way, players will pick up missions, bonus tokens, and may stop at certain locations to digest humans, removing them from their deck but still retaining their points. At the end of 15 rounds, each vampire who made it back safely scores points from their cards and completed missions, while those who did not burn up in sunlight and lose. So what I like: the deck building racing in this game draws the most obvious comparison to being a vampire version of Clank. But really the theme works well here, deciding whether you want abilities that help you move but don't score you much, or feasting on high point humans, which generally take a big hit to your speed, especially since you only get 3 cards per turn. So it rewards some careful planning and long-term strategy. The game is also very easy to set up with a single hunt deck in addition to the sets of starting decks, and it also features an easier rookie side to the board that makes each vampire safer farther out from the castle. And the game features some great whimsical artwork, particularly in the individual art for each of the characters, which really leans into the campy nature of the theme. Now, points to consider: the game does rely very heavily on long-term planning for the deck, and particularly the balance that you have between the points and the speed of your cards. So knowing how far you can go and how quickly you have to turn back based on the speed of your cards is crucial, but it's not intuitive in the first few games, which means you'll have to play a few times to figure out its rhythm. And while the rookie side of the board does help with this, it only adds the number of spaces where you're safe, and it doesn't fundamentally alter the board. So the map is fairly static from game to game, with the only variability in the layout being some bonus tokens that are randomly placed at the beginning. And there are a number of spaces on the board that have important functions, such as places where you can digest humans, but their iconography can be really subtle until you become more familiar with the board. So in summary, it's a very thematic deck building and racing game of feeding vampires, though the timing of the race may take a few tries to understand. The game has a very easy setup and a more forgiving side to the board, but that's at the expense of lack of variability and the layout. And the game has some wonderfully whimsical artwork, although the art on the board can make the iconography kind of hard to see. Thank you so much for watching. Please make sure you like and share this video and subscribe to the channel. Thanks.